Assalamualaikum. This is Saira Ansari and I'm here again with another episode of Ultimate Counseling Cloud Show. You can see that this is a different setting, एक different तरीके से आपके सामने इस दफ़ा आए हैं. So this program also is very different and we are very thrilled while doing it. Since you all know कि हम लोग different inspirational individuals को लेके आपके सामने आते हैं so that students, parents, our audience in general learn something from there. So we were thinking कि art एक ऐसी field है जिस तक पे अभी हम लोगों ने बात नहीं की है. And we are lucky and we feel really honored to be in the presence of a legend here. So I wanted कि I have this is in collaboration with Mr. Ali Asghar Dossa, and we are so happy for this collaboration. He is also a very experienced counselor, a very experienced educationist, and based in Canada and a professional trainer also. So who is the guest और क्या objective है इस वीडियो का? I think Mr. Ali Dossa will tell you.
So thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much. And today is a very special guest, actually, which is part of the show today. And we are inaugurating a very special museum which honors the legacy of an artistic family, which really portrays the heritage of Pakistan. It's the amalgamation of the works of Mr. Ismail Gulgee and his son, Mr. Amin Gulgee, and the Gulgee Museum, which is going to grace Pakistan and Karachi as a venue for artists and art lovers to meet, to learn, and be inspired. So without much ado, I'd like to introduce to you our guest for today, Mr. Amin Gulgee. Thank you so much, sir, for having us here today to share this wonderful moment. One of the things that I researched about you when we were looking at the material is your early work at Yale and your early inspirations. Can you share with us?
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Sarah, for your lovely introduction. Wonderful to have you, Ali, back in Pakistan. This is great, especially Pakistan, Karachi. Yes, I went to Yale University and I graduated in economics and art history. Actually, I'm not legacy. I was never planning. My parents were super liberal with me. The only thing they asked me was, don't be an artist. And I agreed with them because I just thought I wasn't cut out for that sort of life. Being anything much easier. Being a functionary is so much easier. And I had a green card, which I was going to turn into an American passport. So I thought I was never coming back to Pakistan. Fortunately, I met Dominic Malakeh freshman year, who took me kicking and screaming to a class of Baroque art. And I hated economics intensely. And then I just kept on seeing beautiful slide after slide. Professor Jude Bolton was so inspiring. So I started taking another art history class, and lo and behold, I had a major in art history. Then the issue came in when I wanted to do my thesis on Islamic gardens, because at that point, Yale did not have a Department of Islamic Art and Architecture. So they said, no, there's no advisor for you. How can you do your thesis? And then luckily, my father knew Dr. Oleg Grabar, who's like the grandpa in Islamic art history, and he knew him. So I used this connection, called up Mr. Dr. Grabar, who very kindly agreed to meet me. I think he was at Harvard at that time. So I went up there, and we had one meeting. And it was so transformative for my thesis. And he helped me. I won a prize for my thesis on Bottle Gardens. I specialized on the Shalimar, and I won a prize for my thesis, and I owe it to Dr. Grabar. Absolutely, 100%. And so, there I was, not really, I didn't intermediate investment banks, Yale, this was the late 80s. Yale was flooded with, Morgan Stanley, all these people coming to interview you, actually avoiding it. And went to New York, like every young person does. And that's where my partnership with Mr. John McCary began, and was with me at Yale. We were best friends. And that friend, my trajectory began kind of that with art. And so I started jewelry. I would sell one-of-kind art jewelry works on West Broadway, New York, got my passport. And then at a certain point, after 2 or 3 years there, I was like, I wanted to do large pieces. I had the backyard at home. Let's move back to Karachi. I brought John with me, Minto. Luckily, my parents loved him. And we all settled in KDC 67, and I went to the backyard. And that the problem was, in my time, there was only one gallery. That is the Indus Gallery of Dr. Alima. And that is a major gallery in town. And sculpture was not being shown in Karachi at that time. And Aliban said, Deko beta, sculpture doesn't sell and it's controversial. So don't do this. And I was like, no, I want to do this. And I've been very bad with commercial wisdom or listening to people. And so I kept on backing him. I was like Sheldon. Tuck, 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 tuck. And I kept on knocking on his door till he finally relented. I said, fine, have your show. You just lay off of me. I would say, uncle, please. I kind of expressed in the costume. He gave me my first show. And that body of work was, because at Yale, all my education was in Western art history. But there were very few classes about my part of the world. So what I wanted to do, and I love Baroque, I love the Renaissance. I mean, I love all this stuff, but I wanted to capture from my childhood memories. And, my parents were a great collective of antiquity. But they would kind of like forget to buy me along toys, which I did really want because these antiquities were my toys. I would play with a Kandara, I would talk to Buddha, I would see Krishna dancing, I would see this beautiful sort of like calligraphy on bowls in brass, copper, and bronze from Damascus, to see the inlay of the calligraphy in it. But I just found these objects, they excited my imagination, and we could recapture them and reimagine them. And that's what I did. So my first collection of work had Islamic calligraphy, and then I had the sculptures there with Kandara, images of Buddha, images of Krishna, images of Ganesh, and that was my first show.
Lovely. Lovely. Thank you. You have seamlessly blended the performance art and the sculptures also. So, can you just expand on it? How have you navigated through it and how have you blended these? What is your approach?
Absolutely. No, I get it. See, they're very different. I work in copper and brass. It's not art cobra. I don't work in common materials. I work in very blunt materials that are, man has worked with. There's a 5,000-year-old piece, 100 Balochistan parts. 5,000 years old man has been hammering copper, feeding the poor. And bronze is primarily copper. You throw a little bit of tin in, the plastic becomes bronze. So copper's been worked on forever. And it's permanent. Why these pieces? Because it doesn't corrode. It just tarnishes. It remains. And that there's performance art, which is ephemera. It's there and it's gone. It's there for a moment of time. You can document it, you take pictures, but it's gone. Either you're there, spirit set, or you're not. And performance art for me is fascinating because, I not only curate performance art, but I have the genre in performance art. And it's interesting because you can bring a lot of issues to light that are challenging for society and be very confrontational about to people. I don't imitate it. With my work, I'm not interested in treating people. It's about myself, trying to understand myself.
Another aspect of your work is the installations, and they had the element of transforming a space entirely. Where do you draw your inspiration from?
It depends on the installation, right? A lot of my work revolves around the Buzul garden. I want to create gardens where I go, and some installations are like that, when using my calligraphic work in the charbak format, having people walk across it. I mean, carpets of gravel or coal in which the legs is immersed in, from which he's sort of like his legs would fly off of Amtrov, reaching the sky. And then installation also very Christine, I'm very fast. The other sites are specific. I'm very sensitive to the place I'm installing. And I really, I guess I'm a frustrated architect. So I want to incorporate it. It cannot be obtrusive. It must belong within that space.
But one of the earliest places you did, in fact, at this film was Sparda. And can you tell us about the first impressions of when you put it out? And
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a part that I did for myself was making sure that the National Museum in Pakistan and Islamabad, and it was great. That was when the construction of the plates that you see around you was happening. I was that a lot of the old grills abused from 19th century phones that have been destroyed in Sindh, and then they find the bits and bobs. At the junkyards of Karachi, so I took those grills and started incorporating them into architecture. Then I started discovering these beautiful lunettes, again of poems. And they tell a story of color and light and matter. And one of them even had a Star of David in it. And sort of and then so I created this curtain. It was part that was not only the veil to put it on your face, it means curtain, parta. And so I wanted to create a sense of privacy for myself and installed it up on the roof. So it gave me a curtain of light color that stretched across the top of my roof, shielding me. It was my parta.
This is a beautiful thought. Uh, so let's talk about Gulgee Museum. And what really inspired you to start it now, and what role you see or you vision will it play for the art in Pakistan?
So it's funny. My dad didn't want me to be an artist because the way we were born is he's like, Peter, luckily he didn't like cricket. Thank the Lord. And he wasn't into cricket. I was really happy about that. So the way we born is not pick football together. He put down the camera and said, Beta, you paint, I picked. Then we'll talk about pictures. And that's how I grew up. I grew up painting, not making sculpture. I grew up with oils and spell turpentine. I love it. Even now I get just, love the smell of turpentine oils. Oh, it's wonderful. It's reminding you of childhood, and I love paint, love color, love watching him paint. He was a magician, just a crowd to maybe just use the brush and just have such control and abandon at the same time. Unbelievable. So, I was, I just love this work. I just love this work. I think he's genius.
Def-
And I'm not saying that as a son. I'm saying it artist. And that, they were murdered. Both my parents were murdered in 2007. And that was a horrible time for me. And the only thing that kept me alive with that time was my own work. Luckily, I had a show scheduled already, you know, like a year hence and 6 months ahead. So my back had caved down and I hobbled to the workshop and I worked. And if I didn't have those shows, maybe I wouldn't be sitting in front of you now. I would be lost completely. My board became God. And so the work helped me. And then, time doesn't take away the peak, but it heals a little bit, And then finally, last 2 years ago, you know, everything was stopped in time since I in my place. It was stopped in time. And I just boarded up that place. I put grills everywhere, iron grills everywhere to protect it, protect the election. And I just boarded it up. And I go there once in a while just to check if there's any rain damage, but it was all boarded up. So 2 years ago, I said, take over me. I did it sell the painting because I haven't sold a single one of the collection. Or you chauffeur to the world. You can't see this genius in a box in an ID. Thank you can't keep the genius approach like this. So I began the renovation. I worked with my architect, Sabina Jarwala. She's a young architect and very energetic. And we worked. The problem was maybe the collection, when the construction is happening, would have to be moved from point A to point B. But we managed it, and she was a pleasure to work with. And now, at the Skates, where the museum will inshallah open on the 19th of February, and all I invited whoever's watching this, I have an open space. Please do come. It's between 5 and 7 o'clock. 5:08, 7:07. And my timings, I'm paka. I'm on a port. I hadn't ray into timing. So please, if you make it at that time, you're more than welcome. And then it was like, who's going to curate the collection? General construction, so it's all gear. Construction is done. All the spaces look good. Who's going to curate the collection? This is not just about putting it up. You have to create a story, a narrative about Gulgee, who the hell was he, right? Or someone who doesn't know anything about Gulgee. So initially, I'd brought in, somebody on board, an art person, because I wanted to just shy away from it. I just did not. Honestly, I didn't want to deal with it. I thought, let's get somebody else to curate this collection. And woke up Degi, and it'll be good. And unfortunately, end of August, scheduling didn't work out. It's a village just said, I cannot curate. Said, holy cattle. I guess it's me. And then I started. I'm pretty not airy bear. I don't believe in, I don't believe for ghosts and spirits and shit like that. But once this process started, it was like the energies of Saira Ansari took out.
Wow.
And everything started falling into place. And by the end of my journey, I divided the collection into 17 sections. I've written about each and every section. And we also tried to we've also putting together a book on Gulgee, a Gulgee Museum handbook, which is about 318 pages long. And it has 13 essays, new writing on Gulgee, including Q&As with my maternal uncle, paternal uncle, and my sister, but also art people, projects historians who've written about Gulgee. And that would be telecom after the museum is opened. And so here's this endeavor that inshallah will open on the 18th of May.
We are so grateful. Yeah. We are so grateful that you have done it for us, because I think it's, as a nation,
Well, give us see it to go on it.
we would love to. And please, everybody come at the time and at that day.
You see it now.
This is beautiful, fascinated, overwhelmed.
I'm too close to it. I can't enjoy it. All I can do is think about all the things that are left to be done. So right now, I do, I guess. Both of you, inshallah.
Saira and I actually got a chance to take a sneak preview, and we walked through the exhibits as well. And it's a collection beautifully curated of magnificent work. Work which is not only world class but unique, individualistic. And as a heritage, Pakistan is so lucky to have these artists, reflecting our culture, reflecting our stories. And as Pakistanis, it's such a privilege to be able to have the space to go and witness and pay homage to some of our greatest art celebrities.
And when I think about Gulgee, I don't think of him in the Pakistani context. I think of him in the Tolodi posture. There's no other person out there like it. Of course, he was influenced by abstract expressionism, but there's no other abstract expressions like Gulgee out there. Right now, a lot of times contemporary art can look very much the same. It doesn't matter whether it's coming from Karachi or New York. It deal with the same topical issues, But when you look at Gulgee, his apparition, oh my God. Just his vision is so unique and profound, mixing the tradition of Islamic calligraphy with abstract expressionism to create these explosions of color. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And this is something, when you say Pakistan, artists belong to the world. They don't belong to one particular country, religion, or creed, or sexuality. They belong to everybody. And when you think, and going around in museums, that's what I do. I'm an old man. How do I get my jolly? Like museums, or I read books. I mean, that's how I get off. And there's nothing else quite like Gulgee. He stands alone.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What advice do you want to give to the young artists here? What should they do? How do they navigate? What was your
Being an artist, Trust me, I did 4 years of economics and had got a degree, and I hated it so much. I was in complete denial. But if we have to be an artist, and it's tough, and don't expect it to be easy. It's difficult. You're predicted from your art, and then you're trying to make a living and pay some bills. It's not easy. The advice I give is believe in yourself. Somebody told me, what advice, would you have given yourself when you were young? And I told them, if I heard some advice from anybody, even myself, I wouldn't listen to it. You follow your own heart, follow your own ground.
Perfect.
Keep your integrity, keep your vision, and that's what it's all about. Keep your vision. There can be no mentors but yourself.
Great.
Well, thank you so much for this opportunity.
Oh, thank you so much for coming over. You covered a very stressful time in Buzz life. It is perhaps the most stressful time in my life.
We would love to come again and again and again.
Inshallah.
With our students also. I would love to visit.
So that's great.
I would love to.
Why I'm doing this ridiculous endeavor is after the music, opening it for a day, then uske baad I want outreach and I want to work with people who, on a voluntary basis, who will bring schools to the museum from all over Pakistan. Not just Thai come schools to all schools and universities.
Because this is such a lovely expression of soul. I think we really need it. The students of today, we really
But he
need it.
needs museums. Why you take when you pop the country, you steal away all the artwork. You take away the art, you just take away the soul of the country.
This is history.
You need to ess this up of people. And what I'm really happy about in Pakistan, okay, economically we're in shambles, but I come from civilization.
Yeah.
And that is something I'm really confident of.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for giving your time to us. बहुत शुक्रिया. So, I just want to say that please follow the work of Gulgee, Ismail Gulgee, Amin Gulgee. Please come here and see the museum. It's an amazing place. मेरे पास words नहीं है मैं उसको express नहीं कर सकती हूँ. You have to come and see what magnificence is here.
And like Saira said, seeing is believing. So
Yes.
you have to come here yourself and witness the magnificence, but for yourself. Thank you.
And as he said, follow your heart. So thank you for watching us also. Thank you.
Thank you.